Welcome back, guys. JE Live. I'm Jake Ellenbogen, and today we're doing a stream, but it's a little different. The reason for it's different. Basically, you guys know, I'm going to wait until some people file in here, but for the most part, you guys know that, I'm going to Florida Wednesday. If you've been watching my streams, if not, I'll forgive you. It's okay. But yeah. I'm going to be going to Florida on Wednesday, and I'm going to be spending some time with my grandfather, who is dealing with glioblastoma, which is a form of brain cancer, very aggressive cancer, the same cancer that unfortunately killed the late, great Neil Peart of Rush, if you've ever heard of that band. They're pretty legendary. But I had the idea after the GoFundMe went up. I had the idea of doing a charity stream, and I don't know how well this will go, but I just wanted to interact with you guys, and I wanted to do this, to help out my grandfather. He's battling through it right now. It's going to take a ton of effort from, a collective group of people. So I wanted to do a stream where basically if you want to donate, would really appreciate that. The link is in the description. This is just going to be, like a ask me anything. We'll talk whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm willing to, answer any comments, questions, concerns as usual. But the difference with this is that all donations, any sort of super chats, all of those will be matched and sent over to GoFundMe. So it's all about my grandfather tonight. I'm not going to take anything, as much as I do appreciate, the donations to my channel. The channel will grow. I've taken a lot of them, and I really do appreciate that. But the focus right now is on my grandfather. So if you do want to support that, be sure to do that. The link is in the description to go right to the GoFundMe. On top of that, for people that do, if you just want to drop in the comment section that you did, I can go through, look, make sure that you did on the GoFundMe, and I can bring you on. It's going to be a little difficult, but we'll try to make it happen on the fly. I can bring you on as via audio as a guest, and we can have some fun. So there's some more incentive there, besides the obvious. So yeah, that's what I want to say. But I see about 6 of you in here. Hopefully this thing picks up. We had over 100 last night. Was really impressed with the turnout last night. Over 100 people, just constantly, talking Rams football. And this is the time of year. It's getting, we're getting amped up. Obviously, you have training camp. You have the joint practice with the Rams and Cowboys, and it's a lot of good things are happening, and it's getting intense. So, that's something to keep in mind. But, really, I think just looking at everything right now, I think everyone's just ready for preseason. We got a glimpse of, the Cowboys playing the Steelers on Thursday for the Hall of Fame game, and that did some numbers, man. I think it was going back to 2016 or 2017, had the highest of any, Hall of Fame game as far as viewership. So, that says a lot. But, yeah, I definitely think that's something we're all looking forward to. I'm going to be doing watch parties. It doesn't look like I'll be able to do the watch party for the Rams' upcoming preseason game due to the fact that I will be driving back home from Florida. But I will be doing the other two, and in response to the fact I will likely not be able to do the first one, I have promised my channel that I'll be doing a watch party for one of the regular season games this year. So, that's that. That's what I'll say there. Let's see what we got here. So, yeah. I'm going super early today. I realize it's 2:05 p.m. on the West Coast. I know a lot of my subscriber base, viewership, what have you, is on the West Coast, but I wanted to go a little earlier, see how long we could go. I don't know if we'll go all night or anything like that, but I definitely wanted to get on here and have some fun with this. And of course, it's for a good cause. It's helping my grandfather. So, you know, that's what I'll say in that regard. But just talking about, since it doesn't seem like a lot of people are down to comment like they were yesterday, just so you know, it's an Ask Me Anything, so you can ask any questions, comments, concerns, what have you, and I will answer them. But, you know, I really right now, as far as, you know, the Rams and Cowboys joint practice, you know, there's not a ton to talk about, but I'm very curious about a few players. You know, if you didn't catch yesterday, I was talking a bit about, you know, Kareem Orr, the cornerback who they signed, UDFA, played with the Titans, you know, went to Chattanooga. That's somebody that's, you know, making an impact. You know, not a ton of opportunities, but when, you know, his opportunity comes, he's making the most of it. You had, you know, David Long, who's a former third-round pick out of Michigan, the 2019 NFL draft, and, you know, he's somebody that they're hoping they can get more out of, you know, moving forward. And he didn't really do all that well last night, so to speak. So that's something to keep in mind. I mean, you know, we'll see in that regard if he picks up the pace there. You have Dante Dion, who's he hasn't really been able to make a roster, but, you know, he continues to be on the Rams practice squad, and he's, you know, a Hard Knocks type of guy. So, you know, I'm sure he'll be on the Cowboys Hard Knocks on, I think it's Monday, it airs. So that'll be something. But, man, you guys really aren't very talkative today, I noticed. Yeah, so, you know, as far as preseason goes, it looks like, you know, John Wolford isn't going to play. So it's going to be between Bryce Perkins and Devlin Hodges at quarterback. You know, I think when you look at those two, one guy is going to help you big time as far as him being able to run. The other guy is really good, you know, his mobility, and that is Devlin Hodges. His ability to work off schedule, off script, having those starts with the Steelers and, you know, whatnot. He had about 8 of them. So, you know, he's definitely somebody that, you know, has shown you he can play in this league. I mean, albeit it wasn't at a super high level, but, you know, he's definitely going to push Bryce Perkins. And there's not even a guarantee there's a third spot on this roster for a quarterback. In all likelihood, it's going to be a practice squad spot. And you don't want to lose Bryce Perkins, but they might have to, you know, do that because they, you know, it's hard to really fit everyone. They refuse to expand the roster, which is kind of confusing to me with COVID and everything. Regardless, 53 just isn't enough. But since they refuse to do that, well, you know, it's made it pretty difficult for guys like that to make the roster. So, you know, Bryce Perkins and Devlin Hodges, they could be playing for another team. Would not be shocked. Hopefully that's not the case, but they're both going to be starting. I would imagine one is going to take 2 quarters, the other will take the second half, and so forth. And that's going to be, you know, how it goes in preseason until Wolford comes back. And to be honest with you, coming off of appendicitis, I don't know if I'm about to throw him into the fire and have him starting, because I don't know if I want him to play after that. That's what I'll say. What's up, Will? How we doing? Welcome. Gilbert, what are your thoughts on our O-line? I'm pretty high on the offensive line. So the offensive line, you know, from left to right, you have Andrew Whitworth at left tackle. And then at left guard, right now they're rocking with David Edwards. The center, of course, is going to be Austin Corbett. Right guard is going to be Bobby Evans. And right tackle is going to be Rob Havenstein. It's not necessarily the starters that have me feeling really good about the offensive line. It's the depth. And while their starters are pretty good and they have a top 10 unit, in my opinion, the depth is what keeps them even more intriguing and how they can be even better. I'm curious to see what Kevin Carberry is going to mean for this offensive line. But furthermore, when you look at having guys like Joseph Nopum who have started games before, as you know, the back end of your depth, you have to feel good about that. So I do really like their depth. I think they're underrated, and I think the offensive line is going to kick butt, and people are going to, you know, be like, you know, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that think the offensive line isn't very good, and I have some thoughts on that. I would probably say just look at the way the quarterback last year, who wore 16, handled pressure. he didn't step up in the pocket consistently. And so because of that, it made them look not very good, in my opinion. So that's what I'll say in that regard. I do think the offensive line's underrated, and PFF continues to rank them in the top 10. I think they're 8 this year. So clearly, I think it's just an overblown narrative that people have continued to push and push and push. That's what I would say in that regard. Who do you think we will face in the playoffs? That is a question, L Pineapples. That is definitely a question. I think that the Rams will likely win the division. I think they'll have the number 1 seed. So you're talking divisional round. They're not going to play in the wild card round according to my projections. So in the divisional round, that's a tough one. I mean, you look at the Packers last year, and you look at who they played. I mean, there's a chance that they could play, an NFC East team. They could play the Giants, they could play Washington, maybe they play the 49ers or the Cardinals. But I definitely could see, one of those 4 teams end up being who the Rams play in the divisional round. Thoughts on Messi leaving Barcelona for Paris Saint-Germain if you watch soccer? Matthew Stafford, 5,000 plus yards. So, Abel, I do not watch soccer, so I couldn't really tell you. I actually just found out Paris Saint-Germain is a thing, only because you put that in there. So sorry, I'm totally out of touch with soccer. But Matthew Stafford, 5,000 plus yards. Yes, I would say he does go over 5,000 yards passing. He has 17 games to do it, and he's got a bevy of weapons. I'm feeling really good about Matthew Stafford and the odds of him winning the MVP. Gilbert, keeping your family in my prayers, Jake. God bless. Thank you so much, Gilbert. I do appreciate that. That's definitely, there's definitely a lot going on, but I've just been trying to stay positive and, of course, use my platform today to really, push, this to help my grandfather. And if you guys are new here, you didn't hear the beginning, I'm going to Florida Wednesday. My grandfather is who I'm going to see, and he's dealing with glioblastoma. So if you'd like to contribute, it's not required to be on this, stream, but it would really be appreciated if you could contribute. And if you do contribute to the link, it's in the description. What I'll do is I'll bring you on the stream tonight. So it'll be audio, but I'll bring you on the stream and we'll have a conversation. So, that's totally up to you. Let's see. 1 second. All right. Was Stafford throwing a pick against the Cowboys a big deal? No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, it was a really good play by the defender, Maurice Kennedy. Really contorted his body in a crazy way, was able to make the play on the football. So I will say that. I'm not going to put too much stock into that personally, but I can understand why some people would have a problem with him throwing an interception. It's going to happen. Stafford he's a gunslinger. Gunslingers get picked off. You try to make things happen, and sometimes it doesn't, come to pass. And so, it's like shoot or shoot, right? Kobe Bryant, the late, great Kobe Bryant, he wasn't going to stop shooting. Guys like that do not stop shooting just because they're missing, because eventually they'll start hitting them. And it's like, that's the thing with, passing. Sometimes you're going to get picked off. Brett Favre got picked off a lot. But Brett Favre is also a legendary quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback, and Super Bowl champion quarterback. So, it's you got to take the good with the bad. I just don't think there's going to be as many interceptions thrown by Stafford this year as some seem to believe there will be. Who do you think we will face in the playoffs? I already answered that. You didn't say it again. I'm just looking at it right now. Can Hendo be better with this O-line? Yes, absolutely. But I think Henderson, it's not just the offensive line, so to speak. The thing that's going to open the door for Henderson is the fact that you have that passing attack. You now have, obviously we saw it yesterday with Deshaun Jackson. He's going to open up a lot over the top. Defenses are going to have to pick their poison. If they want to basically shut down the deep ball, then they're going to open up a lighter box, up front, and that's going to make it easier for Darrell Henderson to get to the second level. And we saw that yesterday. If he gets to the second level, he's got the speed to burn. So, You know, I think he's definitely going to have a great year. Have to feel good about Henderson if you're a Rams fan. What's up, guys? Sorry to hear about your grandpa. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, Ashton. Yeah, I mean, you know, we're trying. We're gonna try and help him out. It's been, you know, happening for a while. I wanted to keep it on the down low until, you know, somebody came out with a GoFundMe for him. And that's what we've decided to do. So it was started. It looks like it was started today, and you know, we're at $2,410 dollars. He has $100,000 goal. It sounds lofty, but I think we can get there. So, you know, pretty much just you know, just trying to truck away with that and try to, you know, make it happen, you know. By the way, I realized something. The comments are being blocked by this, so I'm going to move this over here, as you can see. And there we go. Yeah, I just realized that, so my bad about that. So yeah, we have the now that you can see the comments. I know a lot of people love the comments. I wasn't even thinking when I put that up there. So now we have the comments and we have the goal right there, and I'll be updating that when I see it. Guys, let me know if you do donate. Let me know in the comments so I can, you know, make sure we can verify it, and then I'll bring you on. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's see here. Do you think after Funk's performance yesterday, the RB2 position is more up in the air, or do you think Jones still is the clear-cut 2? Great question. I didn't see a ton of Jake Funk, to be honest with you, because I was looking at the Cowboys' presentation, and every time they showed Jake Funk, it was like he was getting absolutely stifled at the point of attack. So what I'll say in this regard is I think regardless, Xavier Jones is the number 2 back. But the fact that Funk did what he could, thank you so much, Gilbert. Appreciate you. I will be matching that as a donation on GoFundMe. Do you wanna come on the stream? Let me know. Let's see here. I'm just trying to do this. It feels like this season will be similar to 2017 with how the offense will be structured, the run opening up the deep and the deep opening up the run. You're right. Definitely could be. Yeah, I think that's really what's going to end up happening. I think Xavier Jones is ahead of Jake Funk, but I think you have to feel good about where Jake Funk is as a rookie, you know? All right, you got it, man. I just, you know, obviously wanted to open that up to you. Appreciate you donating, and I'm going to match that right now. I wish there was a way I could show you donating here, but looks like it's only letting me put in myself. So, well, we have video evidence, so appreciate you doing that. Again, it does mean a lot. Let's see. Apple Pay is crazy. All right. So, yeah. So we talked about Jake Funk. Talked about 2017 offense. What else you guys want to talk about? What is on your mind? I think, I mean, people are asking me fantasy advice. Like, should I bother? Should I bother drafting Darrell Henderson when, you know, Xavier Jones is there, Jake Funk? They have guys that'll be used out of the backfield as, you know, in the run game, wide receivers in the run game like Woods and Atwell. But what I would say is I would say this. You absolutely should try to get Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson ended up being my number 12 running back I did all of my projections. I have Henderson getting 12 touchdowns. I have Henderson going for 1,600 total yards. I'm a big fan of Darrell Henderson, but especially now, he's not really going to be held back by anybody in particular. Xavier Jones will probably get around 70 to 80 touches. Jake Funk might sprinkle in 20 to 40, but it's not going to be anything drastic, and I do think Darrell Henderson's going to reap the benefits because of it. El Pineapples, as a Discord chat, we should have all the mods in a stream. We can all talk Rams. What do you mean by that? Like, just have like a stream with just the mods? What are your opinions on Nick Scott? Do you think he will be a starter on another team? He would be. Nick Scott is a starting quality guy. You know, when you look at what he can bring to the table, not only is he has some great, I think he's got a great motor, and I like his ball skills, but like his athleticism is off the charts. He's maybe the most athletic safety in the room. So because of that, I think that allows him to do a lot. Plus his ability in special teams, you know, that's a very valuable player they have as their fourth safety. And that's going to add more to the fire. So if like a guy like, say, you know, Taylor Rapp, they're not able to keep, right? If they're not able to keep Taylor Rapp, basically what that does is now you have Nick Scott, and I think he opens up a lot there. You know, that's what I'll say in that regard. Let's see. Do you think defense will be better, worse, or the same this year, and why? Good question. So the Alexander, I think the defense is going to be a little bit worse than last year, and not noticeably worse, but I think it's going to fall off a tad. I think you're looking at a top 10 defense, which is absolutely fair. I think that's definitely going to be a defense that you want, especially in fantasy. But what I would say is that you definitely don't discount, you know, what can be done with that defense. Definitely don't, because I do think that, you know, there are people already getting on Raheem Morris and saying he's not as intelligent as, say, Brandon Staley. Renee, I don't know if you're in here, but I know that's what, you know, you were saying that yesterday. I would respectfully disagree. And the reason for this is because I think when you look at Raheem Morris's body of work, first off, he's being held way too accountable for the things that Dan Quinn was doing on defense. Once Dan Quinn left, that team was in every single game the rest of the way. And so that tells me all I need to know. Okay, I don't think Dan Quinn's a bad coach, and I do think he's going to help the Dallas Cowboys, but let's not act like Raheem Morris is a liability because of what the Falcons were unable to do last year when he wasn't the coach the whole year. I think Raheem Morris going back has shown you, you know, he had success with Tampa. He had some serious success with Tampa. He has, you know, not only that cover 3 defensive style, you know, that Dan Quinn brings to the table, but on top of that, you know, he has, you know, the Tampa 2 background as well. So I think he's going to be able to mix in a lot of different things on top of what basically has been left over as the blueprint leaving from, you know, Brandon Staley. And I think when you factor in everything, it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for Raheem Morris to get creative. I think he's going to be better at making adjustments than people give him credit for. And I think it's time to watch out for him, because I have the Rams as a top 10 defense. I think they're about 9 or 10 right now. But it's really just, it's a wait and see approach. And I think he has a chance to be really, really good with this team and probably end up being a head coach the year after. Who will be a key player this season on the defensive side? Except for the obvious, you know, obviously Donald and Ramsey and guys like that, I think a key player is going to be, you know, somebody like Terrell Burgess. I'm expecting Burgess to take a huge step in year 2, albeit he didn't even play a full rookie season because of injury in year 1, but I'm thinking he's really going to take the next step. He's got, you know, great athleticism for the position, great ball skills, and really this guy just has instincts. And what it comes down to is the Rams basically watched his game against USC. He had 1 interception in his career. That was the interception game. They watched his game. They saw he was behind guys like Marquise Blair, you know, at Utah, and they basically saw that game and they're like, that was enough for them to find interest and consider drafting him. And I think Burgess does a little bit of everything very well. So I think he takes the next step. I don't know how good he can be, because honestly, I think he can be a Pro Bowl talent, but I think that's going to be your X factor there, I would say. Let's see. 1 second. We got a donation from my guy, Jake Shavink. Appreciate you, Jake. If you're in here, let me know. We'll get you on the stream. Unless you don't want to. It's totally fine. But let's see here. Of course, it doesn't show him right now. It shows me. But Jake did just donate, so I appreciate him for that. Okay, let's see. Do you think Kevin Carberry will run a power blocking scheme he ran at Stanford? I think it was a little different at Stanford. I would probably guess he's going to run a little bit of everything, and they're going to, put some different concepts together. Some outside zone runs for Henderson. Henderson's great when you get him on the outside, toss, crack to the right or the left, things along that nature. When you're running, power, you're running, in between the tackles, that's not really Henderson's game, but he can succeed there, and I think it'll be a lot better because of the fact they have everything opened up due to having Deshaun Jackson and Tutu Atwell and Van Jefferson that can stretch the field. Let's see here. We got oh my god, YouTube, you're doing it again with the whole refresh in the comments when I read them. Gotta love it. Let's see. Yeah, guys like Will, Ben, and the others in like an audio chat IG. Oh yeah, no, we could do that. I'm down to do that. How can we share the link for your GoFundMe? Can you send me on Twitter? I'll post on my Facebook, see if I can get some of my buddies from the MMA community. Yeah, pretty much the link is in the description. You click on that, and you should be able to just share that link around. For the most part, we have 507 shares. This thing went up today, so it's pretty awesome. Let's see what we got here. Which rookie is gonna look the best this season? I say Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence. The best is going to be Najee Harris, and I don't really see it being close. I think Najee Harris is in a league of his own. I think he's going to end up as the number 2 fantasy running back, which would be one of the top players in fantasy. I just think he's in for a huge season. The Rams, they use Todd Gurley similar to how I believe Najee Harris will be used with the Steelers. I think Najee Harris has a chance to have over 300. No, I think he will have over 300 touches with the Steelers. And I think he has a chance to really be a collective nightmare in the passing attack. So I think Najee Harris would be my number 1 guy. And number 2, if he plays, is Trey Lance. If they let him play like I think they should, Trey Lance is going to have a hard time. Their teams are going to have a hard time stopping him, I think. And I think Fields can have a really good year. I'm a big fan of him as well as Trevor Lawrence. But those are my 2, I would say. And watch out. If Trey Sermon has a big role with the 49ers as well, watch out for him. So, that'll be interesting. I don't think Travis Etienne is going to have enough of a role over in Jacksonville to, consider him one of the top dogs. But if he does, then, yeah, he's up there. And I would say Rashad Bateman. I love Jalen Waddle, and I think Jalen Waddle being the number 1 wide receiver from this class is definitely a mention. But I think Rashad Bateman might have the best opportunity playing with Lamar Jackson, being the go-to guy over the top. He's beaten my guy Marlon Humphrey in camp. So he's another guy. And, I'm not about to sit here and say that Kyle Pitts is going to be, a superstar tight end, because I think it's really hard to play that position. It's essentially playing an offensive lineman and a wide receiver. So to assume that any tight end is going to blow up this season, I think is a little ignorant. But, Pitts is a little different, so he could have a better year. But keep this in mind, Kittle didn't have the best year, and then the next year he had 1,400-something yards and, broke the tight end record for receiving. So that's not crazy. If that doesn't happen, oh well. I don't expect a huge year out of Jacob Harris either, because I think there are guys ahead of him like Munt and Higbee. But I think when Harris gets an opportunity, he could be a massive threat as well. Let's see. Do you think Sean McVay will make it to the Hall of Fame? I do. Can you make a 1 to 6 power ranking of the Lakers and Nets big three, and why are the Nets still the better team? Like, what do you mean 1 to 6 power ranking? Like, are you talking about the starting five and the sixth man? Jeffrey, just elaborate a little bit on that, and I can answer that question for you. Chemo, do you ever doubt the abilities from McVay? Many reporters have doubt that it was his fault, not Goff's. I doubt Sean McVay to an extent when it makes sense. I'm not going to sit here and say Jared Goff didn't succeed because of Sean McVay, because let's not forget the fact that Jared Goff succeeded because of Sean McVay. When Sean McVay found him, his 2016 rookie season was horrendous. Sean McVay came in and pretty much with virtually the same roster with a little bit of an addition, of course, adding an Andrew Whitworth. That was a huge addition over, Greg Robinson, and adding Robert Woods and, the draft they had. I mean, it wasn't a massive difference. They added 5-6 players that kind of changed the course of that team, but a lot of that was Sean McVay getting the most of what was there. And so, to me, I'm not going to sit here and say that, Sean McVay's the reason Goff started to struggle, but I'm also not going to sit here and say that no blame should go towards Sean McVay when he has struggled in, say, the red zone in play calling and, game flow as well. So, that's what I would say in that regard. Hey, man, glad I could donate and help. Praying and thinking about you and your family right now. Hey, Jake, I really do appreciate that. Let me know if you want to come on here, and I will set that up, because I definitely would like to have you on if you're down. So yeah, I'll say that. So if you're interested, we'll get that set up. If not, no big deal. Does Raheem Morris have any DC experience? Raheem Morris has DC experience. He has a lot of experience all over the place. One thing that's very interesting, he was a wide receivers coach with Atlanta at one point. So let me just pull up Raheem Morris's full experience. I'll just go over it. Let's see. So we have Raheem Morris started as a Hofstra graduate assistant as a coach. Then he went to Cornell as a defensive backs coach. Then he went back to Hofstra as a defensive backs coach. Then he went to the Buccaneers from 2002 to 2005 as a defensive quality control coach, then a defensive assistant, and then assistant defensive backs coach. He then went to Kansas State as a defensive coordinator in 2006, and then went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a defensive backs coach in 2007 to 2011. 2008, though, after the 2008 season, he was named the head coach in 2009 and stayed there until 2011. He then went back to the Washington Redskins. Sorry, they're now the Washington football team. He became a defensive backs coach from 2012 to 2014, and then he went back to assistant head coach with the Falcons 2015 to 2019. During that time, he was also the passing game coordinator. He was the wide receivers coach from 2016 and 2019. So he basically wore 3 different hats. 2020, he became the defensive coordinator, and then 2020, towards the middle of the season, he became the interim head coach. So he's been a defensive coordinator before, but he hasn't had a ton of experience with it. So he went straight to head coach too. So keep that in mind. He's had defensive coordinator spots with the Kansas State. He's had defensive coordinator spot with Atlanta, and that's really it. So he's been a defensive coordinator twice. One time, half a season basically. Oh no, the whole season for the Falcons. Was an interim coach for half the season. So yeah, that's his experience. I'm not too worried about it, to be honest with you, but I know some are. So let's see. Yeah, on this stream, Jake, I can get you hooked up if you're on my Discord. I can get you hooked up via audio. Do you think Jacob Harris is the Rams' best red zone threat? And if so, what week do you think he will start to break out? Jacob Harris is a very good red zone threat, but I think the best red zone threat, and this might shock people, but it's actually Van Jefferson, because when you look at Van Jefferson's, ability as a route runner and how you can isolate him one-on-one and how he's going to win that matchup almost every time, it makes it really easy when you have a pinpoint accurate quarterback in Matthew Stafford. I don't think people take enough into account the ability to run routes and create separation in a short area situation, as much as they take into account size, right? So he's not the tallest guy. He's not going to go up and high point the football, but he's also 6'1". So, I guess he could do that. And I just have to say, there are guys that have played, they're 6'9", 6'8", whatever, and they can't catch anything in the red zone. So I will say this. I think Jacob Harris is built the best to play in the red zone and at the goal line and in the end zone, things like that. But I think if you're looking for a guy that has a higher success rate, it's Van Jefferson, and I don't really see it being close. And I think a lot of the reason is because you're going to get Deshaun Jackson catching these bombs downfield, and they're going to use Van Jefferson in one-on-one matchups, isolate him on their, number 1, number 2, or number 3 corner, and absolutely make him look silly. Go back to the Green Bay game, he did it, and go back to the Tampa Bay game, he put Jamel Dean on ice. So that is something to keep in mind there. Let's see. Who will get the first touchdown from the Rams? I think it's... Okay, so the first touchdown score for the Rams... I'm going to have to think about this one. Robert Woods. I feel like it's going to be a touchdown pass from Matthew Stafford to Tyler Higbee. That's kind of where I'm leaning right now. So, if you're into betting and all of that, then you can go over to BetUS and betus.com, and you can put that in there if they allow you to do that. I don't know if that's a prop yet, but you can use promo code RAMS125 and get 125% bonus on that. But that's just that. But yeah, I don't know if Higbee. Oh, Higbee second. Yeah, I think I'm leaning Higbee, but I could see a rushing touchdown for Darrell Henderson. I could. That's tough. I'm gonna go with Higbee, but that's not an easy one. Elaboration: rank the combined players of each big three, like Durant, Davis, etc. Oh, so if I combined all 6 of the big three, so the 6, so each big three, which order would it be? Okay, so number 1, I'd say LeBron. Number 2, I would say Kevin Durant. Number 3, I would say Anthony Davis. No, I'd say James Harden, number 3. Anthony Davis, number 4. No, I'd say... No, I'm sorry. No. Let's go back. Okay. LeBron 1. Kevin Durant 2. Harden number 3. Westbrook 4. Anthony Davis 5. Kyrie 6. Kyrie's clearly the weakest of the 6 there. So that's what I would say in that regard. Robert Woods' first Rams touchdown. Interesting that Ramsey only played in the slot at the Cowboys joint practice. You think it was just to let Long get experience on the boundary or what? Great question. And, I think, Will, part of that is, I think maybe they wanted to see, David Long in that matchup. But what I also would say is that I also think that they wanted to try different things with Jalen Ramsey in the slot, not really showing too much of their hand. They're not going to operate the same way. And so I think it was just one of those things. But it's also a testament to Jalen Ramsey being able to do seemingly everything on the football field and why he's so great and the best corner in the league. Chemo, I think it's Hendo with 5-yard rush, right hash on second down. Wow, you're really going into detail there. I am anxious to see Darrell Henderson, as am I. Tutu Atwell, whenever he gets back on the field. He is back on the field. He had COVID. He came back, the question 3, so he is back. Inside linebacker battle, it sounds like right now there's just so much up in the air. I mean, it seems like, Micah Kaiser and Troy Reeder offer the most from what I was reading, what I was seeing. But Kenny Young's in the picture, and then, of course, you have, Ernest Jones, and you have Jake Gervais, who's in that, discussion. All of a sudden, I'm not hearing really much about Christian Roseboom, which is kind of surprising. So, yeah, those are your linebackers. Traven Howard, I think, is going to start, but I guess we'll see, But that's definitely a good question. It'll be interested to see how well, how things shake out there. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you, David. Is Rams-Raiders joint practice still happening? Anyone know when? If so, yeah, it's happening next week. And let me just pull that up. I'm going to see when it's happening. I know it's happening next week. It's going to be in LA. Okay, joint practice. Would be great if they gave me an actual date on it. Okay, it's August 21st on Saturday. So that's the joint Rams and Raiders practice. How much of an impact will Floyd have? Leonard Floyd? I think he's going to have another really good year. I might seem stupid, but are joint practices really for? What are joint practices? Joint practices, it's the first opportunity to get to see your roster versus another team's roster, how they stack up. It gives your team an opportunity to go up against different players instead of going up against players on their team. I know players like it. It also is good for promotion. So, now you have the Cowboys, you have the Rams, you have Hard Knocks. So there's a bunch of factors that go into it, but really the main thing is to see your roster stacking up with another roster and see where you're at with that. Aleem McNeil, St. Brown are all balling out for Detroit. Also, Jamar Jefferson, running back, looks awesome. Not surprising. I liked Aleem McNeil. Obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown is somebody I watched at USC a lot, and Jamar Jefferson had the best vision in the NFL draft. So for a running back. So I definitely am not surprised there. Chemo, they're especially valuable since we don't play our starters in preseason. That's a really good point, Will. How excited are you for us to beat the Bucs in week 3? I have a Bucs fan with me now. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Very excited. I mean, that is, to me, the most important game of the year, week 3 against the Buccaneers. And to start off, they're going to be going up against what it appears to be Andy Dalton, and who's the other one? I totally forgot. Week 2. Jacob Eason. So might be a little bit of an easy 2 games before going in and playing Tom Brady and the Patriots. But they're at home too, so that's something to keep in mind. Aren't these practices injury prone? Yes and no. I mean, you could. I mean, let's be honest here. We saw Cam Akers get hurt non-contact, just like working on his own. You can get hurt at any time. So clearly any activity would be considered injury prone. But what I will say is that in regards to that, when you are dealing with something like this is going to always be something along the lines of like hitting hard, not driving guys into the ground, never hit the quarterback. And as long as you stick to that, you don't really tackle, so it's not really like a huge worry, But I see what why you'd ask that for sure. Probably the best time to get after Tampa week 3. Yeah, true. Yeah, they started off slow last year. Thank you, Apostle. Appreciate you. Let's see. What else can we talk about? I mean, come on. You guys run the show. I don't run the show. I just narrate. Who's Tony Smith? What's a good cheeseburger place out there, Jake? I mean, I really just go to Five Guys, to be honest with you, or I go to Doghouse. I'm biased because I'm from Washington State, but I like Eason. I like Eason, too. Eason was my number 2 quarterback in the NFL draft, 2020. So, I mean, I love him. I had Burrow number 1, I had Eason number 2, and number 3, I had Herbert. Now, looking back, hindsight's 2020, and maybe I should put Herbert at 2 or 1, but, they don't tackle. They had a dispute, right? Do you have any info on that? They just kind of agree not to tackle. It's more of a, I forget the exact word, but they, a big impact. I don't know the word that they use for it, but an NFL-sized impact, a hit, so to speak, ends up, the play dies when that happens, so to speak. What are your playoff predictions, division winners, and wild card? Ooh, okay. So off the top of my head, in the NFC, the division winners are as followed. The Rams win the West. The Giants win the East. The South goes to Tampa. And then the North goes to Green Bay. The wild card is as followed. The 49ers. Man, this is tough on the fly, but the 49ers. Let's see what we got here. Nobody from the North. The South could be the Saints. I feel comfortable with the 49ers. I feel comfortable with the Cardinals. Potentially with the Cardinals. And Washington, potentially. Maybe Carolina. That's tough. I think for now, I'll say the 49ers, the Cardinals, and then I might say the Panthers, to be honest with you. The AFC, I would say in the East, the Bills. In the West, the Chiefs. In the North, the Ravens. And in the South, I wanted to say the Colts, but I'll probably go with the Titans here. And then I'll probably say wild card goes to the Steelers, the Browns, and, man, it's so tough. Dolphins, Patriots. Oh, no, the Chargers. So Steelers, Browns, Chargers. And because I have the Chargers making the Super Bowl against the Rams, so I'll say it now. I think the Chiefs win the division. I think the Chargers would beat them in the playoffs. The last thing you want to do is see the Chargers later on in the season. You want to play them early on. You do not want to play them later on. When that defense is clicking, you do not want to play them later on. I know there's a lot of Rams fans that don't like the Chargers, but you still don't want to touch them. They're going to be tough. So those are my playoff division winners and wild card predictions, Jeffrey. Great question. What are your predictions for the NFC West standings at the end of the regular season? Will, I got the Rams, the 49ers, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. So I have the Rams at 15-2. I have the 49ers in the Cardinals around 10-11 wins. I haven't gone through, but I'll finish that at some point. And then the Seahawks about 7-9 wins, I would say. I think that they'll come in last. So I'm impressed by the O-line after yesterday. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I'm always, relatively impressed with the offensive line. I think they get some good play out of those, the guys that we don't talk about, like David Edwards. I don't think he gets enough credit. Thought Corbett looked solid. Really liked, Havenstein getting to the second level and creating a convoy type of blocking situation for Darrell Henderson. So I would say that. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. The Seahawks, the reason they've been in the picture is because Russell Wilson, and he's not going anywhere. But at the same time, teams got a lot better, I think. And you can't just go based on the fact you have Russell Wilson. So, we could talk about how they added Dwayne Eskridge, all we want. But in reality, David Moore was pretty damn good last year. So all that did was replace Moore. We're not 100% convinced. Like, I'm not 100% guaranteeing that Eskridge is going to be that much better than Moore. So being as that's the case, I can't just go ahead and say, Seattle absolutely is going to be better than last. No, I think they come in last place. I think they'll win 7-9 games, though. I don't think they'll be terrible, but I don't think that they're going to be a top dog in the NFC. I could be wrong. Absolutely could be wrong, but that's kind of how I see it right now. That's what I'll say. Let's see here. Shout out Russell T. Atkins, who just donated $100 4 minutes ago. I don't know if you are in this stream, but if you are, you're welcome to come on the stream audio-wise, and we can do a guest spot. If you're not in here, then obviously you can't hear it, but that's what I'll say there. Also going to update that. Okay. Yeah, Chargers are going to be nice. They definitely are. I think Seahawks have a better chance than Arizona. That's fair. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, they finished ahead of Arizona. What makes you put the Rams over the Bucs for the NFC Championship? Well, to be honest with you, I think the Rams are a better team right now than the Bucs. I know the Bucs are reigning champions, but the Rams beat the Bucs last year with Jared Goff. So that team now just added Matthew Stafford, and they're going to be playing in LA for week 3. I just think they're a better team. I think the Rams have more going for them as far as the future as well. The Buccaneers are going to have to figure things out in a hurry because once, Tom Brady retires, whether it's after this year or the year after, they're going to have to figure out something there because they don't have a future kin, so to speak, behind Tom Brady. So that's something to keep in mind. But no, I have the Rams. I just don't think they would be able to stop the Rams passing attack because they had a hard time with Jared Goff last year. So now you add Matthew Stafford. I just think it would be ridiculous for them. Plus, I don't even think Cooper Kupp. Well, I think he did, actually. Cooper Kupp might have played in that game. Any ideas on who will be the third down running back? Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be Xavier Jones, although I don't think he's going to be a true third down running back. I think that there'll be some third downs he comes in, and he'll be the go-to guy when they do opt to go that route, but he's not necessarily going to be the number one guy for sure. Similar questions after Hendo. Who do you think will emerge at running back? You, a Xavier Jones, or a Jake Funk guy? Also, Jake, where do you take Hendo in fantasy? McVay made it seem like they'll try to preserve him a little bit. Will, you already know this question, my man. Xavier Jones is my guy. He's number 2, and I don't really think it's relatively close. We could talk about Jake Funk and, him showing up in camp and giving the Rams something to really think about there, and that's a good thing. That puts him at running back 3, but he doesn't need to be running back 2. You know, Xavier Jones has been with this team now close to, you know, almost 2 years now. So he had a full year, made the roster, was able to play on special teams, was able to be in the room and everything, has familiarity. So, yeah, I think Xavier Jones definitely is the number 2 guy. As far as where I would draft Henderson, I've taken him as high as the 3rd round when I had to. But, you know, to be honest with you, I want him in the 5th round in, you know, a best ball type of setting. If I'm going for Dynasty, you could take him earlier. But that's what I would say in that regard. Probably rounds 3 to 5, rounds 3 to 6. It's a good measuring stick there. Who do you think is the most productive year 2 wide receiver? That's a great question, Jake. Man, it's tough. I mean, you know, you could look at Justin Jefferson. Some people think he's going to fall off. I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb here because I think CeeDee Lamb has shown that while he is a 2-year guy, this is his 2nd year, he looks like a 6-year vet. You know, he's so fluid in his route running and, you know, his breaks. And we saw him yesterday do just such a nice job against the Rams corners, mainly David Long. But we saw him down the stretch last year. It was very impressive. CeeDee Lamb is somebody I'm definitely looking at to be the most impressive, most productive next year of the year 2 wideouts. Another guy to mention, let's not forget Henry Ruggs III was a, you know, 1st round pick. You know, very, very talented in his own right. He's bulked up. He's actually a little beefy now, so he has some, you know, his true pop behind his pads. So if you try to, you know, really you try to tackle him, he's going to bounce off of you. I'm a big fan of his. He was my number 1 wide receiver last year in the draft. And I think this year he could have a really good, you know, year as long as the role is a do-it-all type of receiver and not just trying to stretch him down the field like they were trying to do last year. He can do more than just be your field stretcher, and I think that's going to be a big thing for Henry Ruggs III. Looking into the future, how scary will this Rams team be 2 years from now when we open up about $40 million in cap space from not paying out Gurley or Goff anymore? Keep in mind, a lot of that will go to Stafford if they, you know, decide to opt into Stafford. If they don't sign Stafford, then yeah, they'll have about $40 million in other opportunities. But I think they do want to bring back Stafford in all likelihood and make him the franchise quarterback. But we'll see. And Jake, how can the Bucs bring back every single player, but we can't keep our guys? The Bucs just have a really nice connection. Everybody seemed to buy in. They did a nice job building a really nice culture, and so that made everyone want to stay and be, you know, unselfish like Tom Brady was, you know, with the Patriots, taking a lot less money to bring in other guys. It's kind of what you're seeing. I mean, some of these guys signed for a lot less than what they could have gotten, so that's really what we're watching over there in Tampa. Do you think they'll let Xavier Jones run wild in preseason and see what he's got, or will we try to be careful with him too? I think they're going to let him run wild. I mean, Xavier Jones didn't even get a preseason last year. Let's just look at the facts. Nobody besides Darrell Henderson has had a preseason opportunity, has not had an NFL snap. So you have, you know, an opportunity to get Xavier Jones going. You have an opportunity to do that, but, you know, I definitely think that's something to keep in mind. Moving forward, I definitely do, because, you know, I think with Xavier Jones, if he had some run last year, maybe they would focus more on Jake Funk, but it's going to be the Xavier Jones show. They're going to use Jake Funk. They're going to use Raymond Calais. They're going to use Otis Anderson Jr., but it's going to be, for the most part, I think, Xavier Jones' opportunity, because they want to get him ready for the season. I mean, that's a really big thing there. How we doing, Jake? What matchups / players are you most looking forward to against the Chargers? What's up, CJ? Thanks, man. I'm doing well. The matchups and players I'm most looking forward to against the Chargers, and I wish I could watch, but let's look at it, right? So they added Asante Samuel Jr. In the draft, so I'm curious to see if he gets any run in preseason, and if he does, then that's going to be very intriguing, very interesting, because, you know, the Rams aren't going to start Woods or Kupp or Jackson or even Van Jefferson. I think he'll be, I don't think he'll start. So because of that, you know, I'd like to see this opportunity going up against, you know, a second-round pick in Asante Samuel Jr., and having a guy like Tutu Atwell or Ben Skoranek or Tristan Jackson. So I'm really excited to see that matchup there for sure. Also, I'm excited to see if they decide to use Rashawn Slater in preseason, which I think they will. The left tackle position with Rashawn Slater, I'm excited to see him versus whoever's coming off the edge, whether that be Okoronkwo, whether that be Lewis, whether that be Hollins, whether that be Chris Garrett. I think it's a huge opportunity. So those are just some of the matchups off the top of my head that I'm kind of, looking forward to. Plus, I think, a guy by the name of Joshua Palmer for the Chargers, third-round pick out of Tennessee, I think that's going to be a fun matchup on whoever he goes up against, whether it's David Long or Kareem Orr or Dante Dion. So that'll be another one to watch. Okay. And the tight ends, I would say. So, you have, obviously with the Chargers, they drafted McKitty. They drafted Trey McKitty. And the Rams drafted Jacob Harris. So I'm excited to see those two. Obviously not matchups. They're not going to go one-on-one against each other, but I'm excited to see those two as well. Okay. Tom Brady takes only $23 million a year compared to us paying Goff $34 million. Who's the better quarterback right now, Brady or Stafford? I mean, I think Stafford's a better quarterback than Brady right now, to be honest with you. I think the fact is, Brady is in an environment where he's been able to just kind of sling the rock at will, and he's had a defense that would be able to bail him out if things go wrong. So he had a really good year. Keep this in mind. He's also throwing to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and, Gronkowski and, O.J. Howard. I mean, he got hurt, but, has a solid running back room, and then the offensive line is tip-top. So then you look at the defense. It's like Stafford didn't really have that defensive, ability. Like, if Stafford played as well as Tom Brady did, I still don't think you would have fully seen that. And on top of it, if Stafford played as poorly as Brady did against the Packers, there's no way they would have won because the defense wouldn't be able to bail them out. So, I mean, keep this in mind. Brady threw 3 interceptions in the NFC title game against the Packers and went to the Super Bowl. Not many quarterbacks can throw 3 interceptions and get bailed out and make it to the Super Bowl. So that's something to keep in mind. And that, to me, is why, while I think Brady is obviously one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, I still think he's falling off a tad. And I know last year he showed signs of brilliance, but it's not a consistent thing. It took a bit. And when he got going, he looked really good at the end of the year. But we'll see. I think Stafford right now is the better quarterback because, honestly, he's not 44 or whatever Tom Brady is right now. What are the odds Stafford takes a bit of a pay cut knowing he will likely have eyes on the Super Bowl every year with the Rams? Good question, CJ. I'm not really sure. We'll have to see in that regard. I mean, I could definitely see him taking, a slight pay cut, but at the same time, he might look at it as like, I won you guys a Super Bowl or whatever, Or he might just, end up hanging up the cleats. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if that happened. Following up my question, do you think Stafford pulls a Brady and takes less money to surround himself with top talents, or do you think he is shooting to be the highest paid quarterback? I don't know if he's shooting to be the highest paid quarterback, but I don't think he's also going to take, a ton of less money. I think maybe a slight pay cut potentially, but we'll see. Air Pro's office, what's the plan at deep threat if Jackson goes down? Well, you have Atwell, you have not Jackson, you have Jefferson, you have Atwell, and you have Jacob Harris that I think could take tops off the defense. Which one of the current camp starters do you see not actually starting week 1? Long, Kaiser, Young, all possibilities maybe. Yeah, I mean, really all of them except for maybe Kaiser. I mean, maybe he could work his way into the starting lineup, but I'm not really too confident right now in David Long. I'm not confident at all in Kenny Young. So I think that's a good question, but I would say pretty much all of them except for Kaiser. Who would you rather have, Matty Ice or Stafford? Great question. I'd rather have Stafford. He's younger by a little bit. But I do think, Stafford is a little bit better than Matt Ryan right now. A little bit. I'm not saying he's a lot better than Matt Ryan. I think they're both Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks. But I like where Stafford is right now. We'll see with Matt Ryan. We'll see what he does this year, but I'm very high on Stafford. Be honest with me, do you think Deshaun plays in more than 8 games? I have my doubts. It's tough, man. Those injuries are legit. He does get hurt, and it is a concern. I would say, I'm going to say he plays at least 8 games. I'll give him at least 8. If he plays more than that, he could have a really big time season. What's your biggest question mark about the Rams currently? Biggest question mark is slot corner. And that hasn't really been a question mark because if you look, they've had Nickel Roby-Coleman or they've had Troy Hill. And now all of a sudden slot corner has become kind of a wonder what's going to happen there. So Tutu has to make a big jump by week 8 IMO. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong there. I want to see Tutu take that jump. I'm the Buccaneers fan Rams 420 was talking about. Well, welcome. Happy to have you here. Let's see. Imagine if D-Jax was in his prime, automatic Super Bowl. I mean, that's a lot of firepower. I don't really have concerns with the offensive line. I mean, I'm not huge on Bobby Evans, but I don't think Bobby Evans is atrocious. I also think, let's call it like it is, Bobby Evans got forced into the fray. He had to play left guard. He barely has any starts at left guard. He had to play left guard in the postseason. You had Andrew Whitworth coming off a major injury that he was somehow able to come back from. Rob Havenstein was playing hurt per usual. I don't know. To me, I'm not really worried about the offensive line. I think a lot of things are coming together, and I just hope they stay healthy. It's basically what I would say about that. Ugh. Yeah, so hope everyone's having a good Sunday. Rams kick returner, punt returner this year. Great question. That's tough. I might honestly go with Tutu Atwell or Raymond Calais. I think Atwell's made significant strides. I think Raymond Calais has also done a nice job. This is based on what I'm hearing. So, I think Landon Akers has a chance to make the practice squad. So he'll be a guy that probably sticks around like a J.J. Koski. And keep in mind, I think the practice squad is going to be extended because of COVID. So that's something to keep in mind. But, yeah, I kind of lean kick returner will be Raymond Calais. Punt returner will be Tutu Atwell. But we'll see. Definitely helps that we have Stafford's eyes. Kind of forgot about Bobby Evans getting thrown in like that. Tough spot. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people did, They just see 71 getting blown up, and they just trash him. And I'm like, well, he was kind of just thrown in there against, what's his face? Zadarius Smith. He just ripped through him in the playoffs. Which rookie quarterback produces the most this year? Trey Lance if he starts. If not, it's going to have to be Trevor Lawrence because I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have more opportunity. He's going to be the starter week 1 and on, whereas I don't know if Justin Fields will start. If Trey Lance doesn't start, I don't know how long he'll have to wait, and I'm really not that high on Zach Wilson. He was my 4th quarterback in the draft. I had a high grade on him, but I am very concerned about Zach Wilson, especially in that market. I do not like it. So we'll see. No way Matthew Stafford's better than Tom Brady. The pocket Tim is what makes him so great. He sees things before it's actually there. The 3 interceptions was because of not running correct routes. Do you know if Tutu has put on any pounds? Not that I know of, unfortunately. We have a quarterback for when Brady leaves. We drafted him. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of what's his face? I totally forgot his name. I'm not the biggest fan of Trask, to be honest with you. So I wouldn't. I'm not too, concerned with that. If I'm the Buccaneers, I would do more than say Kyle Trask after that, but we'll see. I have Zach Wilson as my backup quarterback in fantasy. Thoughts? It's him or Danny Dimes for me. Oh boy. Well, I wish you got in on the backup quarterbacks a little quicker because that's brutal. But you said Danny Dimes. I like Daniel Jones this year. Daniel Jones actually graded out pretty well for me in the projections. I'm gonna look up my projections right now, but what was it? Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up right now because I actually have a pretty good. Like I said, I really don't think he does too much in Zach Wilson, but Daniel Jones, I have the 18th quarterback. I have Zach Wilson at 30th. So I would definitely play Daniel Jones over Zach Wilson. Lamar's your starter. He's the number one quarterback on my list right here. I have him throwing 40 touchdowns. I'm running for over 1,100 yards. Total of 46 touchdowns. Mahomes, Stafford, Rodgers, Murray, Allen, Watson, Prescott, Herbert, Wilson, Burrow, Roethlisberger, Brady, Hurts, Tannehill, Ryan, Wentz, Jones, Cousins, Fitzpatrick, Lance, Darnold, Lawrence, Goff, Mayfield, Locke, Tagovailoa, Winston, Carr, Wilson, Fields, Mac Jones, Cam Newton. And that is my list of quarterbacks in fantasy. So if you have any fantasy questions, I can definitely answer those as well. Who would you take, DJ or Staff over Staff right now? Daniel Jones, absolutely not. I like Daniel Jones, but I have Stafford as the number 3 quarterback in fantasy this year, and I have Daniel Jones as 18th. How soon do you see the Niners turning to Trey Lance? If they're smart, they turn to him now. Trey Lance is the better quarterback, and I don't see what Jimmy Garoppolo brings to the table. Thank you. I appreciate that, CJ. Yeah, I just really like Trey Lance. You know, I like everything about him. Unfortunately, he went to the one team I really didn't want him to go to, but oh well, I guess. Not going to root against him. I'll root against his team, but I'm not going to root against him personally, so. What else you guys got? What is your top 10 NFL power rankings for this season? That's tough. Off the top of my head, I'll probably go, okay, so off the top of my head, power rankings, number 1, Tampa, they won the Super Bowl. Number 2, Kansas City, they were in the Super Bowl. Number 3, the Rams. Number 4, Packers. Number 5, Ravens. Number 6, Bills. Number 7, Browns. Number 8. Number 8, I want to say, you know what? I'll say the Steelers. Number 8, I'll say the Steelers. Number 9, I'll say the Chargers. And number 10, the the Titans. That's entirely off the top of my head, so don't go and compare that to rankings I've had in the past. But no way, Jake. Jimmy must start the season for us. Jimmy goes down, then there's really no pressure on him at all. He can just play. But what's up, Coach? How we doing? My thing is, what is Jimmy providing for this team? If you really think about it, like what does he add that they don't already have? He's just a guy. And this is coming from somebody that was high on him in the draft. This is coming from somebody that always thought he could be a franchise quarterback. I don't see it with Garoppolo, and the guy's never healthy. So I think Lance is the better option. You know, if you're trying to that's the thing, and I'm not about to just play a placeholder, you know. I mean, if you really want to beat the Rams out for the division, you want to play Trey Lance. He offers an ability that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't. Everyone knows how to play against Jimmy Garoppolo. It's like the Bears trotting out, you know, Andy Dalton over Justin Fields and saying, no one can beat us because we're playing Andy Dalton. And then not realizing that everybody knows how to defend Andy Dalton and no one knows how to play against Justin Fields. That's the same thing with Trey Lance. So, I don't know. I disagree, but, I mean, I respect your opinion. I would never play Jimmy. I would have traded him already. Any way too early predictions on first-round quarterbacks in next year's draft? Not really. I mean, I love Ritter. I like Rattler. Ritter and Rattler are my two guys, I would probably say. This may be a stupid question, but would you take Matt Patricia over McVay? Hell no. Jimmy 29-5, something like that overall. Yeah, but the overall, come on now. He's on a really good team, you know. Let's be honest here. The 49ers, if not for the injuries last year, were probably making the playoffs. I'll look up Jimmy Garoppolo's stats real quick. But he doesn't impress me in any way. And he's the reason the 49ers didn't win the Super Bowl. I mean, let's just call it like it is. So, okay, he's 24-8. He's got a 67.5 completion percentage. He's got 51 touchdowns, 26 interceptions. So when we look at his whole thing with the Niners, so just the Niners here, 2020, not 2010. 2020, he had 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He averaged the lowest yards per attempt since his rookie year with the Patriots, in which he only threw 27 passes. Again, really high completion percentage, great, but he's, you know, and he was 3-3 last year too. So really, his 24-8 record, 7 of those stem from when he became a starter with the 49ers his first year and New England. He then went 1-2 the next year before he got hurt. He has the 13-3 crazy season, but I mean that season it was good, but I mean let's be honest here, the film would show this guy was just dumping it off. He wasn't taking the big shots down the field. And then 2020, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. You know, he's Charlie Checkdown essentially. So, you know, I think Trey Lance would be a way better option, but they have won with Jimmy, but they've also lost with Jimmy. Like recently, they were 3-3 with Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Van Jefferson is capable of being a deep threat. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Garoppolo. I mean, keep playing him by all means, because I'm not very high on him. As a Rams fan, I'm not complaining if they play him, but Trey Lance definitely would be the better option. So that is what I would say about that. Is a healthy 49ers team better than the Rams? No, but they're definitely number 2, and they're up there. Thanks, CJ. I appreciate that. Yeah, they're fun, you know? They're definitely fun. I enjoy them. It's a little dead tonight, but we started really early. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I might call it. It's about an hour and a half. I'm getting hungry. Maybe go on again later tonight. If anyone would be interested in a gaming stream while also doing Ask Me Anything, could do that. But like I said, this is all about, you know, the reason I went live tonight, it was all about my grandpa trying to raise money for his glioblastoma GoFundMe. You know, he could really use it. It's, you know, you don't have to donate, of course, but if you do want to help, it is much appreciated. As you can see, our goal is very lofty of 100K, and we are at 2,565 in one day, so I feel pretty good about, you know, where we're at right now, and hopefully we can continue to push that further, but any little bit helps, obviously. If you share this, if you share my tweet about it, if you share the link, it's all helping. So I do appreciate the community for helping in that regard. But yeah, you know, I think that's gonna do it. It's definitely been fun hanging out with you guys. I think I'll be back later on tonight, maybe do a gaming stream with the same goal in mind. But you know, that's what I'll say to that. Oh, thanks, CJ. Appreciate you. I definitely will. And if you don't know, I'm matching donations, so I'm gonna match that. 1 second. Man, Apple Pay is so cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all. Gonna head out, and I might be on later tonight. If I get enough interest, we'll do a gaming stream. I have no idea what we're gonna play, but I do want to get back into that. And then I'm off to Florida on Wednesday, so we'll try to get as much content as we can out before then. I'll try to get content out when I'm in Florida, no guarantee, but that's going to do it. So appreciate you guys so much for, you know, tuning into this, for supporting my grandfather, supporting me. You know, I do really appreciate it. It does mean a lot, and, you know, it doesn't go unnoticed. So, again, appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Whether it's tonight, tomorrow, the next day, I'll be back. So, oh, I got one last comment. Nick BVF, Jake, realistically, do you really think Andrew and Toby will be in No Way Home? They're absolutely going to be in No Way Home. It's going to happen. I don't know when that movie is going to come out. I think it's going to get pushed back to 2022, so just brace yourself in that regard. Not trying to throw bad news out there while we end the stream, but that's what I'll say. I suck at these. I suck at ending things, so I love y'all. You guys take care. I'll see you guys soon. Later.